Hello, friends. This is Sam Chaney reporting for Weaponized News. Today, October 10th, 2025. Thank you for joining us on this Friday edition of Weaponized News. Happy government shutdown day number 10. And they're saying they're firing feds now. So, pretty awesome, I would say. Here now. Pretty good news. Of course, it's all Democrats' fault. I'm now a big fan of Chuck Schumer over here and all of his corruption because they say it's all the Democrats. So they're behind this. But as we know, as we continue to report here, it's been a long time coming here now. Their jobs were already replaced by AI about 7-8 months back. They just barely got the notice today. What else do we got? Oh, Trump's rolling out MAHA, right? Trump is rolling out TrumpRx.com, and he's declared a war on drugs. So he wants to be the #1 drug dealer here now in America. Don't do drugs, kids. Don't do drugs. And so for MAHA, AstraZeneca, the largest pharmaceutical manufacturer in the UK, is committing to offer Americans major discounts on their vast catalog of prescription drugs. Don't do drugs, kids. We got that news. That just they just did a press conference a couple hours ago at the White House. Here it is. We'll go back to it, but just beyond the pale, man. Beyond the pale of ridiculousness. MAHA. There you go. We got government shutdown news. They say that is, well, it came right from the government. This guy, Russ Vogt. What is he? He's the Office of Budget Management Director. And he says the RIFs have begun, which are layoffs for federal government employees. And so I have no sympathy whatsoever. You should have never been working for the crime syndicate from the very beginning. And now we're going to hear a bunch of crying from them about how horrible it is. Well, again, you've already been replaced, you see. Day 10, government shutdown. We'll go over the news about that. The layoffs. I don't know why they call it layoffs. Like, some say firing, some say layoffs, some say furloughs. That guy says, he speaks in code, vote. What was it again? RIFs. Anyhow. Then we got more police state news, martial law, what is going on in Chicago. And I think we played this yesterday, but now it's making the rounds and kind of blowing up a little bit. We do enjoy our dose of Dystopia on Weaponized News. And so dog killer lady, Kristi Noem, Ice Barbie, head of the Department of Homeland Security, is playing this video at every public airport in America. And so we'll play it again for you here now for the dystopia that we find ourselves in here now. We got some ICE news, deportation news. Oh, what do you know? The government changed the numbers again on deportations. So, because all government data is a lie, you see, maybe someday, some way, the public would figure out this fact. I have my doubts, but we continually point it out to you here at Weaponized News, and we'll do that again today with the latest claim of deportation numbers from the Department of Homeland Security and ICE. We got geopolitical news. So allegedly, well, this is what Melania Trump says, that she's having back channel meetings and phone calls with the most evil man in the world, Vladimir Putin. She's trying to do this campaign to reunite missing Ukrainian children. We'll go over that. But the Russia-Ukraine war, man, it's quite horrific. They're over the last week, something like this, both sides have been blowing the hell out of each other's energy infrastructure. Not good, man. Not good. There's a report here that a lot of Ukraine is now without electricity because of attacks on their energy infrastructure by Russia. And we had reports, remember, of Ukraine attacking Russia's energy infrastructure as well. Looks like we're going to throw, not we, but Trump, the orange man, right? Looks like he's made an announcement to put 100% tariffs on China. So I guess you won't be buying those. Well, you better get your plastic garbage from China before November 1st, because then 100% tariffs on China go into effect, allegedly, until he changes his mind, until they milk the market. It was bad in the market today. Speaking of the economy, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was down, 1.9%, and then the crypto markets really took a beating, as just a few days ago we saw Bitcoin at all-time high, and today it lost 5.23%. So a lot of profit taking there. But all around the board, Ethereum, XRP, go down the list, Solana, go down the list of all your cryptos. They're all in the red, basically, here now. But hey, gold sold off a little bit yesterday. It came back strong today. Let me just check right here. Give you the up to the date. So gold right now, $4,017.84, and silver's hanging in there above $50 an ounce. $50.12 is where it closed today for an ounce of silver bullion. And then, well, looks like profit takers with the Bitcoin did their thing, and now it's back in the green, going back up a little bit, but it's extremely volatile. So all of that happened in the economy today, but there's no inflation. Everything's wonderful. Trump already told us, so don't let your lying eyes deceive you about the price of groceries. And what else do we got today? Oh, this is kind of a big deal, but who cares? Don't be, they'll just spin whatever. The clownfluencers on the interwebs spun the narrative that if you were in any way critical of aardvark land, or Trump for that matter, then you must be paid off by Qatar. You're a Qatari agent. They accused Tucker Carlson, a bunch of other, they accuse all kind of people, right, of being Qatari agents paid off by Qatar. If you in any way were critical of genocide, you see, that's what these clownfluencers were pushing the narrative just like a few days ago. Up to a few days ago. I don't know what their answer for this development is. U.S. and Qatar signed deal to open a Qatari Air Force facility in the United States at Mountain Home Air Force Base in Idaho. So now our Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, is a Qatari shill, according to the clownfluencers narrative. So there you have it. Thank you very much for all of your propaganda and lies. And then an emergency meeting was called at the United Nations. It seems Venezuela is getting very, very, things are getting sketchy. They're like, hey, the U.S. is going to whack us here. And They had that emergency meeting to say, what is going on here? Don't whack us, America, in your war on drugs, Trump, because we'll buy all our drugs from TrumpRx.com, you see. Okay. And then what else do we got? Yeah, there's a massive military buildup near Venezuela by America. And so they're kind of getting a little bit paranoid. Is it paranoid if they really are out to get you? And we have some very hostile rhetoric coming out of the White House and the War Department as well. And then, of course, what is going on there with the genocide in Gaza? Apparently, some IDF troops have withdrawn, but what are they doing? They're still whacking people, man. So they shifted now. I guess they're not whacking them in Gaza. They're whacking them in the West Bank. Yeah. I don't know. I still don't. I hope I'm wrong. I still don't think that this ceasefire is going to hold. I do believe that they will continue with the Greater Aardvark Land Project, as they've told us is the whole reason for ethnic cleansing and genociding and leveling the whole area. I do believe that plan will continue. And we have traitors right in our face. Trump's daughter, son-in-law, over there at the wall, as is customary for traitors to America, which is a whole lot of them at this point. A whole lot of them. And we do have some words from Hamas spokesman and a whole lot more as we try to unwind the genocide ethnic cleansing program there in Gaza. Let's get to this day in history. On this day of October 10th, going back to the year 1720, the French government proclaimed strike on banknotes. In 1780, on this day, the Great Hurricane of 1780 hits Barbados and goes on to kill 20 to 30,000 people in the Caribbean, making it the Atlantic's deadliest recorded hurricane. I blame climate change, otherwise known as the guy as arson. So I'm sure it was due to man-made CO2 emissions there in 1780, that extreme weather event. In 1865, we saw the billiard ball patented by John Wesley Hyatt. Patents the billiard ball made from cellulose nitrate, solenoid, in Albany, New York. And then we move to 1871. The Great Chicago Fire is finally extinguished after 3 days, leaving approximately 300 people dead, 100,000 homeless, and costing $222 million in damage. Think of that in 1871. And of course, that's a key date in American history. Many say that's when America became a fully corporate government for the corporations, by the corporations, and for the oligarchs. So 1871, horrific tragedy, the Great Chicago Fire. In 1960, this was a day of climate change natural disasters on this day in history. In 1960, a cyclone hits coast of Gulf of Bengal, killing about an estimated 4,000 people there. In 1973, on this day, then Vice President Spiro Agnew resigns after pleading no contest to allegations of tax fraud. Taxation is theft. And then 1980, another natural disaster, this time an earthquake. In 1980, 4,500 people die when a pair of earthquakes strike northwest Algeria. So quite a tragic day for natural disasters, climate change, arson, dare I say, on this day of October 10th. And then we have one. Do we have one or two? Let's see. Oh, we have two. No, we have one. I'll just say one. On this day in our civil liberties history, going back to 2015, recently declassified State Department records, it was reported today, confirmed the role of Chilean dictator Augusto Pinochet in ordering the 1976 assassination of former Chilean official and his American colleague on U.S. soil. The documents also reveal the role of the CIA and then President Ronald Reagan in covering up Pinochet's role. Well, they would never cover up for corruption. Not Reagan, right? He was a Hollywood actor, just like Trump. So you know you can trust them, right? Former Chilean ambassador Orlando Lettier and his American colleague Ronnie Moffett were killed in a bomb blast in Washington, D.C. in 1976. At the time, many suspected that Pinochet had ordered the killing of critics of his dictatorial regime. The recently declassified State Department documents include a 1987 CIA memo that convincing evidence of Pinochet's personal role in ordering the murder. The CIA memo was written to then President Ronald Reagan and then Secretary of State George P. Shultz. Thus, Reagan and Shultz and the CIA participated in a cover-up of the murder of an American citizen on American soil in order to protect Pinochet's right-wing dictatorship. If you can't trust the government, I don't know who you can trust. But there they are, covering up for assassinations on U.S. soil. We do appreciate the efforts of the Reagan administration there. And then here's our segue. Trump went to get a exam over there at Walter Reed Medical Center where, well, he got his regular physical, he says. But he did also, I noticed it was reported that he also went in there around April. I don't know. Maybe he took 82 miracles there, as he said yesterday, right? So here's our segue to the news. Not really much going on there, just Trump off the helicopter into the SUV, but that's what all that was about. Okay, on to MAHA. MAHA, we're making America healthy again here now with TrumpRx.gov. If you believe this, I got an AstraZeneca miracle to sell you, and so does Trump. So there you go. We're on the same page.
Well, first of all, I just want to thank everyone for celebrating this landmark moment. This landmark moment is not just a moment to announce a new way to buy less expensive life-saving medicine, but it is a step function change in the way that Virginians and Americans can access medicines. And it is a step function change because historically there was an opaque pricing mechanism that had so many people standing between the manufacturers and the patients that no one knew really what it cost. Well, now we can go direct to consumers. And that's what Trump RX is all about, going direct to consumers, where a consumer can come and find that particular medication that they need and go direct to the company and get the best possible price. Second of all, the most favored nation clause is a groundbreaking moment. It's a groundbreaking moment because, as you've heard, that American customers have been paying 3, 4, 5 times what international customers have been paying. That is just not fair. And Mr. President, I want to thank you for simply recognizing that America must come first. And Americans deserve the best pricing, not the worst. It changes everything for a state. In Virginia, we have $1.5 billion a year of pharmaceutical expenditure under our Medicaid plan. $1.5 billion a year. We save 10%, 20%, 30%. All of a sudden, 150, 300 million, 450 million in savings can be realized by a...
There you go. Don't do drugs, kids. Bindi says that, who is that? Well, that's the governor of Virginia, Youngkin. And yeah, he is tall. Maybe he has platform shoes on or something, because all these characters like to always, make themselves look bigger than they really are. Okay. Today, AstraZeneca, the largest pharmaceutical manufacturer in the UK. MAHA, we're winning. This is how you show you're winning.
AstraZeneca, the largest pharmaceutical manufacturer in the United Kingdom, is committing to offer Americans major discounts on their vast catalog of prescription drugs, one of the great companies, by the way, and a most favored nation's pricing clause. So most favored nation is you're going to pay whatever the lowest price anywhere in the world is. That's what you're going to be paying.
Here is the AstraZeneca CEO, Pascal Soriot. And today he's really excited. Well, oh yeah, he's really excited. Thanks for all the miracles, bud.
Today I'm really excited to announce AstraZeneca's commitment to your vision for a healthy America. Great leadership is about having an ambitious vision that can energize people, and you appoint a very talented team that can deliver on this. Your vision is exactly that. It is about lowering the price of medicines for American patients while ensuring that America remains a global powerhouse of innovation in biopharmaceuticals. And that's not easy to do. We need to keep inventing.
That's MAHA for you. AstraZeneca will invest $50 billion in the U.S. over the next 5 years for research and development of new drugs and to offshore manufacturing facilities across the country. Here's the announcement from Trump. Don't do drugs.
Furthermore, AstraZeneca will invest $50 billion in the United States over the next 5 years for research and development of new drugs and to onshore manufacturing facilities across the country, like the new plant that broke ground yesterday in Charlottesville, Virginia, where the governor attended. They had a tremendous group of people attending. It's going to have 3,600 jobs just to begin with. And that's going to be a fantastic plant. I saw a picture. It's going to be the best, right? You can't get any better. This is it.
It's freaking awesome, dude. And when they cook up the next emergency, then you can mandate everybody, take your products there for their own good, of course. And then here's Trump RX. It's like, I can't even believe it. I should believe it because the corruption is just next level here. But here it is. They launched Trump RX website today. TrumpRx.gov. I don't even get it. How does it work with, I guess after Trump's term is over, we're still going to have TrumpRx.gov with us forever. You know what I mean? Like, just what the? This is very surreal and dystopic, but this is where we're at here. MAHA. The lowest prescription prices in America. Trump RX doesn't sell medications. Instead, it connects patients directly with the best prices, increasing transparency and cutting out costly third-party markups. All sounds well and good, and I understand some people have conditions. They have to take medications. I do understand that, but I also do believe that the large majority of medications prescribed are not necessary, but God forbid I have an opinion on it, right? A breakthrough for Americans. President Trump is delivering on promises that, quote, experts said were impossible by taking bold action to lower prescription drug costs for American families without sacrificing innovation. Americans have unfairly shouldered the cost of drug development for decades, only to see those same medications sold abroad for a fraction of the price paid in US. This broken system hasn't just been unfair, it's driven up costs and hurt the most valuable among us. President Trump is changing that with Trump RX. It's just, come on, dude. There it is. There it is. Trump RX. So I guess he's not going to be, well, he's the middleman, right? So he's the middleman here in this. He made himself the middleman. And so you got to whack all these other drug dealers because Trump's taking over with his war on drugs, don't you see? Don't you see how this is all playing out? Democrats' government shutdown is the ultimate display of hypocrisy. Is it now? This is a post out of the White House. Ultimate display of hypocrisy, and they're quoting the Hill headline. The Hill goes on to say, well, let me just put it on the screen for you. Ultimate display of hypocrisy, really? The Democrats' government shutdown is bad for everyone, but there is a silver lining. At least we finally know that Democrats have no problem putting politics ahead of veterans, VA employees, and other hardworking Americans. You didn't know? You didn't already know that? It took a government shutdown. Votes to pay troops and federal workers, and they're constantly exploiting our soldiers, and that's what the government does to the point of death, you see. But in this particular case, for the government shutdown, they're exploiting our soldiers once again. I wouldn't expect anything different. Post from Christian Zionist piece of trash, Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson here. He says, votes to pay troops and federal workers. The Republicans are all big government shill hack authoritarians. Democrats are based. They're all voting all against that. So there you go. There you go. The dates and the votes. Leader Schumer may think that every day this shutdown continues gets better for Democrats. It does. It does, you see. But every single day, the Democrats refuse to open the government. The consequences get worse for the American people. I'm loving it over here, man. I'm loving it. Here's old Dole, however you say his stupid name, Doon. He's a good-looking older man. I'll give him that. But I mean, what a corrupt piece of garbage this is. The head of the Republicans over there in the Senate. Let's take a listen to this liar.
Leader Chuck Schumer may think that every day that goes by, the shutdown gets better for the political prospects of the Democrats, but every day that it goes by, it gets a lot worse for the American people. Now, Democrats, senators might start to feel that a little bit personally when they try to fly out of airports, and you see some of the impacts that are already occurring with respect to TSA and air traffic control. And families around the country are already seeing the impacts, and it's about to get a whole lot worse. Because we just needed 5 more votes, 5 more Democrat votes that the Democrats wouldn't give us yesterday, the American people are going to miss a lot more and feel a lot more pain and miss a lot more paychecks.
Good. This is a hard lesson. Get off government dependence. in whatever form it may be. And then the very professional, and you could tell the White House is upset, posted this meme again. Democrat shutdown, day 10. Here it is, one more time.
Way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bullshit. Not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Even Latinos hate us. So we need new voters. And if we give all these illegal aliens free health care, we might be able to get them on our side so they can vote for us. They can't even speak English, so they won't realize we're just a bunch of woke pieces of shit, you know, at least for a while until they learn English. And
that's a white here. Look, the White House is posting this. Like, dude, really? Yeah, we covered it before, but they posted it again here for day 10. Rucka says he bets that they incorporate crypto payments for prescriptions. Yeah, you could buy your dope now with stable coins, most likely. Do we have time for a funny story? Funny story is, during the medical intervention, I wanted to get some of these, the horse paste and the oxy and all this. I wanted to get some of that just so I can have it, because it was a thing to do, because they said you couldn't have it, right? But I couldn't get it around here. So I had to go through a Canadian pharmacy, and I did use Bitcoin to purchase it, but then they source it from India. And so I did do all of that. I did buy my drugs with cryptocurrency, and I never took any because I never got them, because they were seized by the FDA in New York. And they sent me a letter. The FDA sent me a letter saying that they may charge me for the disposal of said drugs. So not only did they steal my drugs, they also threatened to make me pay for destroying said drugs. They stole them and they used them, or whatever the hell, probably sold them. Anyway, I never got my, horse dewormer or oxy. And I had some other stuff in there too, some antibiotics like that. Anyway, total screw job. Thanks for, and what if I really did need that medicine? You know what I mean? I didn't get it because the government's keeping me safe by stealing my prescription drugs. I do appreciate the FDA there keeping me safe. Day 10 of the Democrat shutdown. Better for Democrats, devastating for America, the White House says. Really, nobody cares. Go outside. The sun's still shining. The birds are chirping. Nobody freaking cares, except for government-dependent losers. If you're a service member who's not getting a paycheck, it's because Chuck Schumer has to appease the Marxists. Why can't Chuck Schumer appease Marxists? Old Speaker Johnson here's constantly appeasing Zionists. And aren't they even one and the same? I don't know.
Chuck Schumer is hurting real Americans for his own political survival. I'm going to say that again. Chuck Schumer is hurting real Americans for his own political survival. If you're a service member who's not getting a paycheck, it's because Chuck Schumer has to appease the Marxists. Cut and simple. It's plain and simple. Shame on you, Chuck. Every Senate Democrat who's going along with it.
Chuck Schumer's appeasing the Marxists is the claim here now. Okay. This is the day I've been waiting for. Start firing these fools.
Begin firing federal employees during this government shutdown.
It's taking place right now, and it's all because of the Democrats. The Democrats are causing the loss of a lot of jobs with their, it's a shutdown. It's their shutdown, not our shutdown.
This is all cover for Doge, AI, technocracy, Palantir, as we continue to cover. This is all bullshit. This is bullshit. It's already been decided.
Well, I can tell you, I'll be able to tell you that in 4 or 5 days if this keeps going on. If this keeps going on, it'll be substantial, and a lot of those jobs will never come back. But you're gonna have a lot closer to a balanced budget, actually.
There you go. He just said the quiet part out loud because that has been the plan the entire time. You see, they're using this cover of the government shutdown as an excuse and try to get political points to blame the Democrats. They're liars. Trump's a liar. Democrats are liars. Your entire federal government is a freaking racketeering, organized crime operation. For God's sake, every American should be so pissed off. But just, I don't know, maybe I'm biased because of the interwebs and I'm in my echo chamber or whatever. But honestly, in real life, the large majority don't care. You know what I mean? That I know. Anyway, they don't even care. I'm like, you hear about this, hear about that. Nah, they're not weaponized news hounds, that's for sure. And shout out to Sandwich Time. Thank you. He said, I missed my weaponized news. I think he went on vacation, he was saying. And he said, I missed my weaponized news and I'm back to hear it. A comment from yesterday about the weaponized news hounds. All right. So, I don't know. What does RIF mean? It's I don't know. But anyway, here's the post. This is what kicked it off today from Russ Vogt here. The RIFs have begun. That's like layoffs. I don't know what RIF. Probably should have looked it up. Whatever. There's plutonium. What's up on the YouTube? Welcome to the broadcast here as we're celebrating day 10 of the government shutdown. And now, oh my gosh, there's going to be federal workers face layoffs. Well, should have never worked for the crime syndicate in the first place. How you like them apples? Federal feds? I mean, should have never been a fed. Like, you're immoral on its face. It's immoral to be a fed, you see. More than 4,000 workers. We need like 2 million. This is a report out of CBS News. They say more than 4,000 workers could get layoff notices across 7 federal agencies. Whoop-de freaking do. We need like 2 million. We need the entire federal government to resign, to own Trump, and then that'll show him. You know what I mean? He won't even have any order followers to boss around. And so that's how you show Trump is you 2 million, how many ever million it is, it's over 2 million, right? Fed employees, all of you guys just resign, and that's how you own Trump. Some federal employees received notices today telling them they will be laid off in 60 days. Not good enough. Not good enough. And there's crying about it. Whatever, dude. Trump administration begins substantial federal worker layoffs amid shutdown. 4,000. That's what CBS said. Oh my gosh. Reduction in force is what RIF. I thought they're just humble civil servants. They're using force against us? They're using the threat of violence against us because they're racketeers, you see, and extortionists. But don't you know, it's the based Chuck Schumer Democrats.
This conversation about layoffs would not be happening right now if the Democrats did not vote to shut the government down. And as I also said last briefing as well, we are $37 trillion in debt, and the government is not receiving any cash. So someone has to look at the balance sheet and be good stewards of the American taxpayer dollar. And layoffs are an unfortunate consequence of that.
Seriously? We're almost at 38. Seriously? So that's the end of reporting on day 10 of the government shutdown. We need a lot more. Like I said, we need them all to resign to own Trump. And then he won't be the king of anything because there'll be no one around to even give orders to, you see. Of course, that won't happen, but that is my utopian dream, that someday, some way, I guess it would take supernatural forces to put in people's spirit and heart and mind to do the right thing for once in their life. But they work for the federal government, so they never will, you see. But I can dream over here, can't I? Dominion voting system sold to Liberty Vote. That's pretty funny. A company run by ex-GOP election official Scott Linerdecker for an undisclosed sum, according to a report out of Axios. So, yeah, rig up some more voting there. Of course, the most transparent, clean elections ever that we have here in America. And what do we got? We got this clown world show. I got all kind of news. I think Proposition 50 here in California. Get this in the mail, and a lot. They're cranked for the November 4th special election, costing my county like millions of dollars. Who cares? They care about democracy, right? For your democracy. It's just to rig it. I don't even know. I guess, well, I know why they're doing it, but like it's hard to believe they could even rig it more than it's already rigged. But somehow, some way, they're trying to rig up congressional districts to get 4 or 5 more seats for Democrats over here in California to counter efforts in Texas and other states by Republicans. So I do have my ballot here. I haven't even looked at it. I have seen reports of people saying it's already rigged. So I have to look into my ballot and see what's going on with that. Maybe do a report about it if I find my ballot's rigged. What else do we got? Yeah, there's filling up my mailbox with a bunch of junk mail. BS. At taxpayers' expense for democracy. That's what Newsom tells us. It's freaking nonsense. Okay, everybody's been waiting for this report, I know. Inside billionaire Peter Thiel's private lectures, warnings of the Antichrist and U.S. destruction. Sounds very enthralling there. Tech billionaire Peter Thiel recently warned that Swedish activist Greta Thunberg and critics of technology or artificial intelligence are legionnaires of the Antichrist. In private lectures on Christianity that connected government oversight of Silicon Valley to an apocalyptic future. So Peter Thiel is claiming that Greta Thunberg is in league with the Antichrist. And what? Hey, he's a billionaire transhumanist Mr. Technocracy, so I guess whatever he says is the way it is. So we got to listen to him. Why Peter Thiel worries about the rise of the Antichrist, but he's the one that's the Antichrist. I guess they have to do the satanic inversion of reality. I guess it's all part of their dark occult rituals, you see, is what we've learned here now. He says that one world government regulation is looming. Peter Thiel, in talk on Antichrist, says he told Elon Musk not to give wealth to charity. So that was an article out of the Washington Post, the UK Times, and who's the other one? Reuters. And then so here's our AI mashup of all of these articles. Let's take a look here. How much details do we want? We've covered it before, but Peter Thiel, the billionaire co-founder of PayPal and Palantir, with a net worth of $26.5 billion, recently delivered a 4-part lecture series on the Antichrist in San Francisco, hosted by the Christian group Acts 17 Collective. The series which concluded recently, draws from a mix of biblical texts, Renaissance art, German philosophy, and esoteric ideas to explore apocalyptic themes. Doesn't that sound wonderful? Thiel warns that excessive regulation of technology and scientific advancements stemming from fears of AI, nuclear threats, or climate disasters could pave the way for a one world government that embodies the Antichrist. But he's the guy driving the technocracy that is the Antichrist mark of the beast system. Never mind. He cares about watching out for you and I when this whole apocalypse comes upon us. Not that he's helping to engineer the whole thing or anything like this. This system, he argues, would erode financial privacy and freedom through global surveillance, sanctions, and payment controls built over the last 25 years under the pretense of maintaining peace. As a strong advocate for cryptocurrencies, Thiel emphasizes how such a regime would make it nearly impossible to hide wealth, rendering tech billionaires' fortunes illusionary in their power. Thiel critiques, Silicon Valley's lack of foresight, particularly around wealth succession, noting that many entrepreneurs focus on success but neglect planning for what happens next. He highlights initiatives like Bill Gates, our former doctor here at Weaponized News, during the medical intervention until he cheated on his wife and terminated all those people. Excuse me. No, he didn't do that. It's the world's doctor, saved the world, essentially. Him and Trump. Sorry, but the giving pledge from Bill Gates as a mechanism that could redirect billions toward left-wing causes if you handled it carefully. In evaluating potential Antichrist figures, Thiel describes them as charismatic, young, rapidly ascending leaders obsessed with end-time scenarios. Almost like he's describing himself there. Projection much? He dismisses figures like Bill Gates, deemed awful, but not popular or political enough, and Chinese President Xi Jinping, seen as outdated and nationalistic. Notably, Thiel addresses Donald Trump, acknowledging liberal views that portray him as deranged or Antichrist-like, but he remains open to debate while suggesting Trump might be at least relatively good or even better than the Antichrist. Come on, guys. Trump's better than the Antichrist. You know what I mean? He's a real, corrupt, narcissistic psycho, but he's better than the Antichrist. So, a key anecdote from the lectures involves Thiel's recent conversation with Elon Musk, where he advised Musk to abandon the giving pledge. Thiel warned that Musk's vast fortune, estimated $400 billion, could largely end up funding progressive nonprofits selected by Bill Gates, despite Musk's recent $200 million donation to Trump. Musk reportedly responded humorously about not giving it to his children, particularly his trans daughter. Thiel's broader message urges independent thinking, balancing optimism and pessimism to avoid laziness, and pushing for innovation rather than stagnation. He downplays AI hype as comparable to the internet's impact in the 1990s, adding that about 1% of GDP annually amid overall technological slowdowns The lecture series reflect Thiel's blend of Christianity, economics, tech libertarianism, positioning him as a voice against global controls that could fulfill biblical prophecies of tyranny. He's the one doing the damn global one world government technocracy tyranny. Like, dude. Anyhow, that's where we're at with that. Peter Thiel and the Antichrist. Trump's not the Antichrist because half the country hates him. You know what I mean? Probably more than that by now. So, okay, on to Chicago here. They're probably going to tag me with copyright, whatever, dude. It's fair use, YouTube. This is in context of reporting on what's going on in Chicago with rolling out the National Guard there and all these ICE raids on illegal aliens. There were 22 shootings and 4 murders in Chicago last weekend. Here is Pritzker on Jimmy Kimmel reporting live from Chicago. There's no hellscape I'd rather be in, he says. So it's all fun and games until you wind up living in a hellscape, Chicago.
We also got a very special report filed by J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois. This is J.B. Pritzker reporting from war-torn Chicago. As you can see, there's utter mayhem and chaos on the ground. It's quite disturbing. The Milwaukee Brewers have come in to attack our Chicago Cubs. We've seen people being forced to eat hot dogs with ketchup on them. And our deep dish pizza, well, has gone shallow. So it's a challenge to survive here in the city of Chicago, but there's no hellscape that I'd rather be in. Well, thank you, Governor. And please know that you and the Cubs will be in our...
He loves living in the hellscape of Chicago. Good for him. See, they changed the numbers here again. That is your crime syndicate, the Department of Homeland Security. They said 2 million had self-deported. I remember reporting on it. Now they're saying 1.6 million have self-deported. That's like 400,000 less than they had reported like last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever the hell it was. Now they say 2 million illegal aliens are out of this country, almost 500,000 by deportation and 1.6 by self-deportation. Let's watch this. They just make up the numbers. Never trust government data.
Absolutely, Marianne. Thank you for having me. What President Trump and Secretary Noem have done in just 250 days really is nothing short of extraordinary. Think about the injunctions, the smears against our law enforcement, the smears against the Trump administration, and yet we have the most secure border in American history. And that's really freed up our law enforcement to be able to make those arrests on the ground. As you mentioned, 2 million illegal aliens are out of this country. Almost 500,000 by deportation and 1.6 million from self-deportation.
Bullshit. They said 2 million had self-deported. I remember reporting on it. Now they're changing it up again. And old plutonium there. Yeah, well, welcome aboard. We're all Chuck Schumer Democrats now. You better be careful in Nebraska. Those cornhusker, corn-fed white boys, they may jump you for that. But it's what we got to do. Is get on board with the base Democrats and Chuck Schumer.
Which is what we are continuing to push. But Secretary Noem, you see her day in and day out on the ground with our law enforcement agents. And keep in mind, when you're seeing these men and women who are working every single day to keep our homeland secure, not only are they facing attacks and demonization, but they're also going without pay because of the Democrats' shutdown. So Secretary Noem was just on the ground in Portland. She was on the ground in Chicago, and she's seeing the fact that J.B. Pritzker and the Portland politicians there refuse to allow local police to give our law enforcement backup when they call for help, when they're being attacked, when they're being assaulted. The local law enforcement won't help them. So that's exactly why President Trump called in the National Guard and is calling in those federal resources and surging them to those sanctuary cities to make sure that the public is safe and make sure that our law enforcement is safe and has the backup that they need.
Oh yeah, everybody's safe. Don't you worry about that. And then we're in dystopia here now. We're in some kind of hellscape, as described by Pritzker. This video is playing nationwide at airports, and we have to put up with this. Glad I don't fly. Jesus. Here she is. Ice Barbie, dog killer lady. Hi,
I'm Kristi Noem, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security. It is TSA's top priority to make sure that you have the most pleasant and efficient airport experience as possible while we keep you safe. However, Democrats in Congress refuse to fund the federal government, and because of this, many of our operations are impacted, and most of our TSA employees are working without pay. We will continue to do all that we can to avoid delays that will impact your travel. And our hope is that Democrats will soon recognize the importance of opening the government.
Talk about hellscape. Government can't and won't keep you safe. It's just bullshit. It's lies from these liars. We're dealing with things you ain't seen before. This is what do they say here? Who's this guy? Some Fed Commander Op at Large, CA Gregory K. Bovino says they're dealing with. He's talking about ICE here now. Says they're dealing with rapists, murderers, fugitives, drug traffickers, child molesters, violent gang members. You think we're not in LA anymore? Think again. Enforcement is still ongoing in both Los Angeles and Chicago. These operations will continue through the government shutdown. Let's watch this propaganda video they put out. Sorry, no audio there. They'll tag me for copyright. Getting all the bad illegal aliens. There you go. There you go. They're going to get you. Except for they've only deported 500,000 of the 20 plus million that are here. So they're way behind any kind of quota. Getting it done in 4 years. We're almost at 3 years left here now. 500,000, that's all he could do. Falling way short. Promises made, promises broken by the Trump administration. And his lie. They just go on TV and freaking lie. There is no mass deportations. Again, Feds crying about corruption here. Really? Go arrest the DMV. Who's issuing these IDs if this is even true? Homeland Security, Department of Homeland Security says, want to know how corrupt sanctuary New York City is? They handed out a commercial driver's license to an illegal alien and actually issued it to no name given. Our brave ICE officers are working to prevent this kind of threat to public safety. What are you doing? Auditing the DMV? You know what I mean? It doesn't even make sense. If this is true, go arrest the corrupt person at the DMV that allowed this to happen. You know what I mean? They know when ICE shows up in their communities, it's going to be a bad day for gang members, they say here now. This report is about arresting a Latin Kings gang member who put a bounty on U.S. Border Patrol chief.
Juan Espinoza Martinez, 37 years old, of Chicago, apparently with the Latin Kings gang. He was accused of offering a bounty to kill Border Patrol commander, $2,000 for info on him, and $10,000 if you take him down. Now, this guy who offered that bounty is now in custody. Is he the only one that's doing this kind of thing, or is this becoming more systemic?
We're seeing this more and more nationwide as President Trump and Secretary Noem and the men and women of ICE, Border Patrol, and our other federal partners to continue to go after these gang members, murderers, and rapists. They know that when ICE shows up in their communities, it's going to be a bad day for gang members. And we will continue to go after these people. This is another prime example of somebody who put a hit out on our officers while they're out trying to do their job. The men and women of ICE care about our communities, care about keeping people safe, and the gang members don't want us there, and we'll continue to go after them when they want to wreak havoc on the American people.
That's pretty wild. They're putting hits out on feds. Here is a Homeland Security again. They say Antifa terrorists are threatening the families of our law enforcement, and we will hunt these sickos down and put them behind bars. In Texas, the spouse of an ICE officer received a voicemail filled with violent threats. If you don't believe that radical anarchists want ICE law enforcement dead, listen to this.
Hi, I'm just calling to say, assuming you're married to and with a last name like that, I don't know how you let your husband work for ICE and you sleep at night. You, your family. I hope your kids get deported by accident. How do you sleep? You. Did you hear what happened to the Nazis after World War II? Because that's what's going to happen to your family.
And old confluencer, what's his name? Benny Johnson. He's essentially a fed. Acts like he's some talk show host. But he's essentially a fed. He was threatened, and they got the guy there as well. In that case, I won't even play the video because that guy, I just get a bad feeling from old Benny Johnson. Dear Antifa, we're taking our country back. It's propaganda from the Department of Homeland Security. Whoa. Damn it. Forgot about the music. Deportations will continue, they say. Really? There you go. Deportations will continue. And what else do we got? Are we almost done with this section? We're almost done with this section. Okay. Department of Homeland Security says that it's hotter than ever. More than 20,000 plus patriots have stepped up in the last 2 weeks to serve as homeland defenders. If you want to help us decide who will enter our country, then go join uscis.gov/join. Benefits include $50,000 signing bonus, no college degree required, flexible hours, flexible duty locations, and work from home. The ICE is going to roll out a social media monitoring unit, they've been saying for a while here now. And so we do look forward to that. The government coming in directly censoring us through all in the name of fighting illegal immigration and the drug war. So they're filling the roles there with highly educated individual. Never mind. Okay. Another win for America. Trump signed a historic deal with our partner nation, Finland. We talked about that a little bit yesterday. That will deliver 4 new Arctic security cutters to the U.S. Coast Guard fleet to protect America's sovereignty and secure our Arctic interests. And so that is going to become, as we continue to report here, a very hot spot, as they say, as Russia, China, America, Finland fight for who's going to control all of the natural resources available to plunder in the Arctic region there now. And with that, let's take our live commercial break. And we'll come back with the second half of Weaponized News. Everybody go to weaponizednews.com, get yourself some stickers, the holograph sticker, the white background, and the clear sticker here. Weaponizednews.com. You can give us a donation, become a subscriber, and big news coming from the store. Probably by Monday, if I can work on it enough over the weekend, we'll have a lot of new products at the Weaponized News store for your patronage, if you shall feel so enabled to help us out and get some products. We got hats, shirts. I'll plug it big on Monday, as I've been working on it for the last few days here now. So I do appreciate, again, all the donations, patrons, and subscribers to Weaponized News. Support independent reporting and analysis. Okay, here's a word from our sponsor. We'll be back with the second half of the show here now.
Running a small business feeling overwhelmed by numbers and paperwork? Abazaba Enterprises has your back. Our expert business solutions include accounting, QuickBooks support, payroll, taxes, and top-notch consulting. Let us handle the details so you can focus on growing your business. Business Solutions Accounting, QuickBooks, Consulting, Payroll, Taxes. Call 559-577-9250. Call Abazaba Enterprises today at 559-577-9250 for stress-free solutions.
And we're back. Welcome back to the second half of Weaponized News on this October 10th, 2025 edition, day 10 of the government shutdown. And they're laying off or firing government workers, and only 4,000 so far. But everybody has to make a giant deal about it, you know. God forbid you're not dependent on the government. I don't know what's going on with this, but we're going to play you the clip. Melania Trump says she's having direct back channel meetings and calls with Putin. Kind of weird, but maybe the First Lady is going to broker a peace deal.
Much has unfolded since President Putin received my letter last August. He responded in writing, signaling a willingness to engage with me directly and outlining details regarding the Ukrainian children residing in Russia. And since then, President Putin and I have had an open channel of communication regarding the welfare of these children. For the past 3 months, both sides have participated in several back-channel meetings and calls, all in good faith. We have agreed to cooperate with each other for the benefit of all people involved in this war. My representative has been working directly with President Putin's team to ensure the safe reunification of children with their families between Russia and Ukraine. In fact, 8 children have been rejoined with their families during the past 24 hours.
How funny would that be if she wins the Nobel Peace Prize? Trump would be pissed. Yeah, Trump did not win the Nobel Peace Prize. We'll get to that. Russian strikes have knocked out power to nearly half of Ukraine, hitting 15 key energy sites, including 5 hydroelectric plants in Kiev. The left bank of Kiev is without water or electricity. Transport has been halted, and major outages stretch across much of Ukraine. So, not good, man. Not good. Okay, and then I don't know if we can read this whole thing, but turns out there's a trade war going on still. We got a war on drugs, war on left-wing terrorists, war on trade. Here's Trump earlier today. Some very strange things are happening in China. They are becoming very hostile and sending letters to countries throughout the world, that they want to impose export controls on each and every element of production having to do with rare earths and virtually anything else they can think of, even if it's not manufactured in China. Nobody has ever seen anything like this, but essentially it would clog the markets and make life difficult for virtually every country in the world, especially for China. We have been contacted by other countries who are extremely angry at this great trade hostility, which came out of nowhere. Our relationship with China over the past 6 months has been very good, thereby making this move on trade an even more surprising one. I've always felt that they've been lying in wait, and now, as usual, I've been proven right. There is no way that China should be allowed to hold the world captive, but that seems to have been their plan for quite some time, starting with the magnets and other elements that they have quietly amassed into somewhat of a monopoly position, a rather sinister and hostile move, to say the least. But the United States has monopoly positions also, much stronger and more far-reaching than China's. I have just not chosen to use them. There was never a reason for me to do so until now. The letter they say they sent is many pages long and details with great specificity each and every element that they want to withhold from other nations. Things that were routine are no longer routine at all. I've not spoken to President Xi because there was no reason to do so. This was a real surprise, not only to me, but to all the leaders of the free world. I was to meet President Xi in 2 weeks at APEC in South Korea, but now there seems to be no reason to do so. The Chinese letters were especially inappropriate in that this was the day that, after 3,000 years of bedlam and fighting, there's peace in the Middle East. Really? I wonder if that timing was coincidental. Dependent on what China says about the hostile order that they have just put out, I will be forced as president of America to financially counter their move for every element that they have been able to monopolize. We have two. I never thought it would come to this, but perhaps, as with all things, the time has come. Ultimately, though potentially painful, it will be a very good thing in the end for the USA. One of the policies that we are calculating at this moment is a massive increase of tariffs on Chinese products coming into America. There are many other countermeasures that are likewise under serious consideration. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And then, that was earlier today, and then later today, he said this in a Truth Social post. He said, based on the fact that China has taken this unprecedented position, and speaking only for the USA and not other nations who are similarly threatened, starting November 1st, 2025 or sooner, depending on any further actions or changes taken by China, the United States of America will impose a tariff of 100% on China, over and above any tariff that they are currently paying. Also on November 1st, we'll impose export controls on any and all critical software. It is impossible to believe that China would have taken such an action, but they have, and the rest is history. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So, turns out your kids are not going to get those 40 Chinese dolls for Christmas. You better buy them now before November 1st, or you're only going to get 4 pieces of plastic instead of 20, because it's going to cost a hell of a lot here now for imported Chinese goods, until he changes his mind again, we'll have to wait and see. Are they still negotiating? I don't know. Seems like all a ploy to me, but we're going to have to see how this sorts out. And Trump did say he will have that meeting with Xi in like 2 weeks at the APEC meeting. So maybe something will develop there. We'll be reporting on it. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was took a hit today. Here's the graph. Lost 1.9%. You can see right there. All in this news. And again, the crypto markets took big hits right here. Take a look at all your crypto, way down there. But hey, the good news is gold and silver. As I reported at the beginning, silver's over $50 an ounce, and gold is over $4,000 an ounce. So that's some good news for quote investors out there. Old Maria Corina Machado, Venezuelan opposition leader, wins the 2025 Nobel Prize. I thought Trump was going to win it for bombing 5 countries, for bombing Somalia 81 times, for doing more bombing runs than Biden did his entire 4 years, already in the first 10 months or 9 months of his administration. I thought that was worthy of the Nobel Peace of Crap Prize. People are all over the interwebs crying about it. It's like, it was never legitimate, you clowns. And so here she is, said 2025 Nobel Peace Prize winner. Maybe Trump should sanction her, drone her. Venezuelan opposition figure has won the Nobel Peace Prize. Machado, who has publicly voiced support for Ardvarkaland's military actions in Gaza, once wrote to Bibi asking him to invade her own country to overthrow Maduro. She also pledged to move Venezuela's embassy to Jerusalem if she came to power. Still a big Zionist there, you see. And of course, it makes sense that she would win the Nobel Peace Prize there in support of genocide. Makes perfect sense to me. And so, but Trump did thank her. But you know, behind the scenes, he was pissed, right? Nobel Peace Prize winner dedicates award to Donald Trump. Well, they're both Zionists, you know what I mean? So they're in the same club here now of supporting genocide, profiteering off of genocide. I don't know if she does. Trump damn sure profiteers off genocide. So there you go. Major explosion hit the Accurate Energetic Systems factory in Buck Snort, Tennessee. The blast destroyed a building, was felt up to 20 miles away, and left 19 workers missing. Several deaths and injuries have been confirmed. AES makes explosives for military and industrial use. So quite an explosion there at this explosions factory. Who would have known you'd have explosions at explosions factories? But it is a tragic event here in Buck Snort, Tennessee. So here it was before, and here it is after. Kind of looked like Gaza, huh? There you go. They leveled that place with explosives. And then, of course, what are you, some kind of Qatari Hamas traitor? Because that's the claims that the clownfluencers were making all over the interweb. They're still making them. Well, I guess your beloved Secretary of War here now, Pete Hegseth, is nothing more than a Qatari operative. Let's take a listen to this announcement. Air Force facility will be shared there with Qatar. Mountain Home Air Force Base in Idaho.
We also value the close cooperation between Doha and Washington that led to the signing of the Gaza peace plan. on October 8th. This historic achievement underscores what can be accomplished when our nations work together with courage and trust, amongst other partners such as Egypt and Turkey. We further welcome today's signing of the letter of acceptance establishing a Qatari Emir Air Force facility and Mountain Home Air Base in Idaho. This step strengthens interoperabilities, enhance joint readiness, and advance our shared defense goals. Mr. Secretary, together we will continue to deepen this strategic partnership in pursuit of lasting peace and shared security. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you. We wish you that.
Sign now.
Sign and trade. How about that? Exchange.
So there you go. The Qatari Hamasi are now at gonna train there and have a presence in the Idaho military base. So there you go. Everybody I don't like is a Qatar Hamas terrorist who are also right there at our own military bases in Idaho. And we wouldn't have it any other way. The Pentagon will host a new Qatari Air Force facility at Mountain Home Air Force Base in Idaho. And so it is pretty wonderful. The facility will be used to train Qatari pilots to fly F-15 fighter jets. This facility will accommodate Qatari F-15 fighter jets and pilots for joint training with U.S. forces, enhancing combat readiness and cooperation. Hegseth also praised Qatar's role in the Gaza peace deal, noting, "You have been a core part of what has unfolded in Gaza, a historic moment." And so isn't it all wonderful there? I remember Qatar gave Trump that, I guess they gave it to the government, but Trump can use it when he's president, that $500 million jumbo jet fancy airplane. Remember that? Oh, yeah. But don't you dare be critical of our foreign policy or you're a damn Qatari Hamas, you see? And so Venezuela's getting antsy. I don't blame them, honestly, because you got a bunch of psychos pointing a bunch of big guns at you right now in Venezuela. Venezuela asked the UN Security Council for emergency session over recent U.S. military actions near its waters. Caracas warned of a possible armed attack in a very short time. Yeah, they may try to whack old Maduro there. Wouldn't surprise me, honestly. Because don't you know, he's the reason why we have drug addicts in America. Here is Venezuela at the United Nations today.
Belligerent action and rhetoric of the US government objectively point to the fact that we are facing a situation in which it is rational to anticipate that in the very short term an armed attack is to be perpetrated against Venezuela. That's why we're here, because this Security Council has the necessary means to prevent further worsening of the situation.
I don't know, man. It feels like they're going to whack them. Giant buildup of U.S. military assets there in the Caribbean. Biggest U.S. show of force in the Caribbean in the last 30 years. Officially called counter narcotics, but looks like a lot to coerce pressure on Maduro. At sea, there's a Iwo amphibious group, 3 ships, 22nd MEU, and 4,500 troops, destroyers, the USS Jason Dunham, USS Gravely, and USS Stockdale, cruiser USS Lake Erie, LCS USS Minneapolis St. Paul, submarine USS Newport News, special ops ship MV Ocean Trader, In the air, 10 F-35s and MQ-9 Reapers based in Puerto Rico. P-8 Poseidon patrols monitoring Venezuelan coast. Harriers, Ospreys, Seahawks aboard carriers. On the ground, the 22nd MEU live fire drills near Caracas coast. Special ops and Rangers on alert. The 82nd Airborne ready for rapid deployment. Yeah, I think if I was Maduro, I'd be shitting a brick right now too. Because they got a whole lot of military assets right there that we just went over. And that's just what we know about. You know what I mean? So imagine what we don't even know about. But they're lining them up there. That damn drug trafficker in this counter narcotics operation. Because as we reported at the beginning of the show, you get all your drugs through TrumpRx.com, damn it. You don't get them from Maduro. The War Department is establishing a new counter-narcotics joint task force in the Southcom area of responsibility to crush the cartels, stop the poison, and keep America safe. Here's a message from the Secretary of War right now. At the President's direction, the Department of War is establishing a new counter-narcotics joint task force in the Southcom area of responsibility to crush the cartels, stop the poison, and keep America safe. The message is clear. If you traffic drugs toward our shores, we'll stop you cold. CENTCOM has confirmed that the Aardvark Defense Forces, IDF, completed the first phase of withdrawal to the yellow line. And we showed that map, if you remember. I don't have the map handy, but if you remember the lines on the map of Gaza, all the different phases, and you're going to go here and here and here, and we're going to do it systematically. So Witkoff, the special envoy to Aardvarks, said that the 72-hour period to release the hostages has begun. And so that was earlier today. We'll see. Aardvark Lands Channel 12 is citing an Army spokesman, claims that 911 Aardvark officers and soldiers, 911, have been killed since the start of the war in Gaza. It's tragic. But what do they whacked 70,000 Palestinians. So, I mean, you know, and can we trust their numbers? No. From the Gaza Ministry of Truth, the genocide's over. They say, no, actually, they don't say that. They say in the past 24 hours, 17 Palestinians have been killed and another 71 have been injured. The people of Gaza returned to their homes, and there's quite a few of them. Here's some still images, and then we do have some video as well. You could, return to a pile of rubble there. It's another image, and then I do believe we have a short clip. Told them no, stop making up reasons to mess up powerless people, Max said. Yeah. And then Bindi said, shared defense, where's Qatar located? How big is Qatar? We got to share defense with Hamas, you see. Okay, here's video of these Palestinians returning to Gaza. Not really much to see there, just these poor people suffering so much there. Trump personally guaranteed that the United States would prevent Aardvark land from breaking the new Gaza ceasefire, a promise that convinced Hamas to agree to the deal. Report out of Axios. Here's Mike Huckabee, lying as per usual.
Israel is willing to do extraordinary things to save their innocent civilians. Hamas, they're willing to do evil things, even kill their own civilians, just in order to free terrorists. It's quite the contrast in the whole world.
Hannibal doctrine, that's exactly what aardvarks do. Satanic inversion of reality for anyone, for this great Christian man, Mike Huckabee.
I hope we'll see it. I hope the people that have been screaming in the streets of America, screaming out pro-Hamas nonsense and from the river to the sea, I hope they watch this carefully and they pick a new side than the side they've been marked.
He just literally said what the aardvarks have been doing, but yeah, we wouldn't expect. And this character right here, influential aardvark rabbi David Bar Hayim, says Trump's Gaza deal is shameful and disastrous for the aardvark people because the Gaza Strip should have been conquered, ethnically cleansed, and resettled by the aardvarks. So at least this guy's telling us how they really feel about the whole deal.
Many people are elated and consider this to be a cause for celebration. I'm most definitely not of that opinion. I think that this agreement is shameful and disastrous for the Jewish people on multiple levels and for multiple reasons. First of all, I will repeat now what I said from the very outset regarding this war, namely that the only correct policy and aim of the war should have been very straightforward and can be expressed in three Hebrew words: kibush, gerush, and hityashvut, which means conquering the area, the land. That's kibush. Gerush means the expulsion and driving out of the Islamo-Nazis, and I refer to all the people in Gaza by that term, because that is the truth, and only a fool or a deceitful person would claim otherwise. And hityashvut, which means resettling the Jews in that area, the so-called, known as the Gaza Strip, which is simply the western Negev, the western part, and the part of the Negev which abuts the Mediterranean, which has always been part of our homeland, of Eretz Yisrael.
So there you go. I appreciate this occultist telling us the truth, actually. He said the quiet part out loud. They all feel that way. Here is Hamas leader Bassem Naman on his thoughts about Tony Blair being part of leading this Gaza redevelopment plan. Let's take a listen. And why would he have a problem with Tony Blair? Everybody loves Tony Blair, right?
But when it comes to Tony Blair, former prime minister, unfortunately, we Palestinians, and I'm sure Arabs and Muslims and maybe a lot of people around the world, they have very, very bad memories about him. We still remember his role in killing, on causing the killing of thousands or millions of of innocent civilians in Afghanistan, in Iraq. We can remember very well, after destroying Afghanistan and Iraq, he became, as a reward for his crimes, to be the head of the quartet, which was imposing the siege on the PA first in 2003, and the quartet conditions, and then on the government formed by Hamas in 2006. I think all Palestinians, not only in Hamas, not only in Gaza, have very bad and very negative image of him. And I don't believe that he will be very welcomed or will be a very positive input in this case.
You just can't even make it up. Like, who are we going to pick to lead this thing? Everybody loves Tony Blair, right? Dude.
Now you're saying you don't want to and you will not disarm.
If you ask it directly, yes, we are not going to be disarmed as long as we are not sure that this will lead by any other means to have an independent, self-sovereign state which is able to defend itself.
They'd be damn fools if they did, right? I'm not even listening to this, but here, this is from late yesterday. Witkoff, Bibi, Jared Kushner with
We're at a momentous development.
So, yeah. We were told Jared Kushner's not going to have any part of this Trump administration. Look at what Ivanka Trump posts on X. There you go. Love it, right? There you go. There you go. And it wasn't only her. It was also Witkoff and her husband, Jared Kushner. There you go. Occultists. You can trust them. No, they care. They care. And here's video. Trump envoy Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner visiting the Western Wall to pray for peace. Well, you know you could have peace if you stopped, genociding them. He's praying for another $1 billion from genocide profits, you see. Is Aardvark Land paying U.S. influencers $7,000 per post? Indeed, they are. Inside Astra project and Netanyahu's strategy to win social media. Indeed, they are. We've covered this, but now it's even in the mainstream here. Even in the mainstream. Recent documents have revealed a surprising element of Aardvark Land's public diplomacy, a social media influencer campaign reportedly paying around $7,000 per post to promote pro-Aardvark content in the U.S. The effort is known as the Esther Project, is part of a larger push by the Aardvark government to shape public opinion amid ongoing conflicts, with Bibi placing heavy emphasis on winning the battle on social media. Well, you're not going to win it. You're not going to win it. You already lost, you see. You already lost, but throw some more American tax money at it for sure. So yeah, they already lost. They already lost the information war, in large part due to their own soldiers posting war crimes videos on the interwebs. A top Democrat Party propaganda firm has been caught running bot networks and media outreach for the Aardvark government. FARA filings uncovered by Sludge show that SKDK, a Biden and Schumer linked consulting firm, signed a $600,000 deal with French propaganda giant Havas to operate pro-Aardvark bot farms on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and other platforms for Aardvark's foreign ministry. Follow-up investigations found that SKDK also managed media coordination through Targeted Communications Global LLC, pitching stories to outlets from CNN to ABC to Fox News, Newsmax, and News Nation. And so we do appreciate all those efforts, but sorry, Aardvarks, you guys lost. You lost the info war in much part, well, in all part to your own doings here now. The Eighth Front report out of the cradle. Aardvark Land's digital Iron Dome and the narrative battle. Digital Iron Dome in the wake of Operation Alaska Flood on October 7th, 2023, the worst attack in the history of the world. Aardvark Land, that was all a stand down, fake videos, and so on. Who cares? They Hannibal doctrined their own people. Who cares? Don't be a Hamas Qatari in Idaho. Aardvark Land's so-called digital Iron Dome was activated to intercept digital content, just as its military dome intercepts missiles. But instead of shrapnel, the targets are ideas, posts, images, videos that expose Aardvark Land's atrocities in the besieged enclave. The digital dome operates on two main layers. First is the volunteer-driven reporting system, a nationwide campaign in which users flood social media platforms with mass complaints against content deemed unfavorable to Aardvark Land. A hybrid of AI and human reviews rapidly classifies flagged posts, then pushes to take them down on platforms like Meta, TikTok, and X. The goal is speed to kill the narrative before it spreads. TikTok alone deleted 3.1 million videos and cut off 140,000 live streams in the first 6 months of the Aardvark Land genocide in Gaza. The second layer is an algorithmic warfare AI system scans over 200,000 websites to identify dissenting narratives, then bombard exposed users with paid pro-Aardvark content in real time using ad campaigns that mimic the look and timing of organic posts. Aardvark Land floods timelines with a manufactured counter narrative. This dual strategy aims to overwhelm and erase. The first suppresses the spread of resistant voices. The second replaces them with state-approved fabrications. Weaponizing social media for war. We're all targets of these wars. We're the ones whose clicks decide whose side wins. Peter Singer, co-author of Like War, the Weaponization of Social Media. Thank you for tuning in to Weaponized News. Here now. CNN is trying to figure out why this may be the case. Turns out recent polling, most American aardvarks say Aardvark Land has committed war crimes against Palestinians. About 4 in 10 say Aardvark Land has committed genocide. War crimes against Palestinians in Gaza, yes, 61% there. Genocide against Palestinians in Gaza, 39%. And that's this Washington Compost poll of 815 aardvark Americans. So, yeah. Attacks by the IDF, illegal settlers injure 39 in the occupied West Bank. Journalists among the dozens of Palestinians wounded amid escalation in aardvark violence during all of harvest season. At least 36 people, including journalists, were killed in attacks by the aardvark military and illegal settlers in towns near Nablus in occupied West Bank. Yeah, they're still whacking them, man. They're still whacking them. But hey, ceasefire, you know what I mean? So they've destroyed everything. Palestinians return to devastation in Gaza City. BBC here reports. I don't know. Why is everybody mad? I don't know, because you guys leveled the entire place there. Thousands of Palestinians have begun returning home from South Gaza to Gaza City weeks after fleeing the aardvark offensive that turned much of the city into rubble. Yeah. And they blew up, just blew the hell out of the place. Well, there were terror buildings. You know what I mean? Aardvark land has dropped about 200,000 tons of explosives on Gaza since October 7, 2023. That's the equivalent of nearly 13 Hiroshima bombs. Yeah, it's fine. You know what I mean? They're doing it for their health and safety there. Again, let's play this clip, the before and after, and you can see they literally leveled the whole damn place. No audio on this. Dude. They leveled the whole place. What it used to be and what it is now. Pile of rubble. Quite horrific. There indeed. And with that, let's wrap up this Friday edition of Weaponized News. Happy day 10 of the government shutdown. Happy government firings. Happy peace, somewhat, something, maybe. They're still whacking them in the West Bank. I don't know. You tell me. Can you trust? We think this ceasefire is going to hold? I don't know. I have serious doubts. Serious doubts. I hope it does. I hope I'm wrong, and they stop killing each other over there, man, because it is quite horrific. 911 dead IDF. That's horrific. But nothing compares to the genocide, right? I mean, it's insane what they've done there now. We've never seen anything like this in modern times. 13, the equivalent of 13 Hiroshimas there in Gaza. All right, let's go to the channels quickly. Over there on the Odysee. RIF is different than furlough. RIF is permanent. John said, well, we can only hope. Maybe Ukraine shouldn't have bombed major Russian fuel processing plants. Yeah. They're. I heard that 30% of Russia's refineries were taken out of production. Something like that. F up Russia's energy production. They're effed. To make things worse, they want to make war on Iran. Imagine consequences in the straits if the Strait of Hormuz closes. Yeah. These are not isolated incidents in geopolitics, right? It's all these events that are engineered by the one world government almost like there's a conspiracy going on, coincide, maybe not directly, but indirectly for sure, and directly in many cases. What was removed? Is there a moderator? No, there's no moderator in that chat. I think Gura removed it. They were heading in the other direction weeks ago. Is this guy with the yoke on his head for real? He is for real. He is for real. This is some aspect of aardvarkism, Saturn worship. Yeah, it's their dark occult, Talmudic outfit. That stupid square on their head. They wrapped that. It's like this electrical tape, right? It looks like electrical tape, black electrical tape. They wrap that all around their arm and get all suited up to do dark occultic rituals, you see? And so, yeah. They're not the good guys. Thank you guys for tuning in on Odysee. Over there on the Bitchute, thank you for tuning in on Bitchute. Thank you for tuning in on the Rumble platform. I'm sorry I couldn't integrate the chat again today. Who is over on the Rumble? Karen, shout out to Karen. Chloe, Ruckus, thank you very much. 33. Who else do we got over there? Pamela, thank you for tuning in. Let's see here. Any comments? Homeland Security is just trying to keep up with the kids' new Common Core math. They have a hard time counting here. Illegal aliens, apparently. Wee River, I'm on rewind. Any signs of that good lad Ruckus today? No Ruckus today, sorry. We'll have to get him back next week. Here now if we can. Highland, let's see. Haven't got digging into it, but Machado may be a CIA asset. She's pro aardvark, that's for sure. So that's good enough for me. 9/11 shot with 33 bullets. That's pretty good. That's pretty good by Wee River over there on the Rumble chat. Who else do we got here? Denver, I sent you an email if you're listening, try to get you back on the show here. So if you're interested, Denver, check your email and let's line up having you come back on the show here. Denver always dropping the knowledge and important links in the Weaponized News chat. And I see Denver on other shows too. He is a consummate info warrior, and that's why we need him back on Weaponized News. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Rumble. What else do we got? YouTube. Those did come through. It's the most dishonorable thing I've ever seen, but I am reading about the Holocaust again in a book called Reckoning, and it sure brings it to life. Max said on the YouTube. That's very dark indeed. Thank you guys for chatting it up on the YouTube, keeping that lively. And what else did we have? We had the X, we had the Kick, Twitch, and Facebook. Thank you for tuning in on whatever platform you may be tuning in to Weaponized News on. As always, everybody do your own research. Peace, love, and freedom. Speak out and take action. Have a great rest of your Friday evening, and be sure to celebrate this ongoing government shutdown this weekend.